Hey, what's up guys? Everything Apple Pro here. Let's not fool ourselves, we all know why you're here. ProMotion on the iPhone, 120 Hz refresh rate display. It's happening and it's happening this year. And I've got a ton of other exclusive leaks for you in our exclusive leaks part 3 featuring Max Weinbach. Wanted to say thank you for making this possible, and thank you to Concept Creator for help with our best render work yet. So to celebrate our launch party for Phone Rebel on May 28th, I'll be giving away the promised 4 iPhone 11 Pros. Instructions for those down below. The craziest project so far, so many ideas for Gen 2 and beyond. Thank you for believing in us and supporting. I wanted to mention I've been sitting on these leaks for a little over a month. Just for the record, Weinbach sent me them a while ago and we've been dawdling around with our renders, but I hope it was worth it. So since our last exclusives, we've once again received new CAD models, 6.1 and 6.7 inch models. Nothing new on them, but from a different source, once again cementing in the fact that this is the design for the new iPhone. It will not have a smart connector, so that was deemed removed on newer CADs, and Prosser himself mentioned that that is a feature coming to future iPhones for completely portless design. It'll be used for charging, so that's not coming to this year's iPhone. Wanted to make that clear. Also, in case you missed the last video, the sizing of the 6.1 and 5.4 inch models have been adjusted. This is according to Takara's earlier CAD leaks. They were correct on the 6.7 inch model, so we've adjusted the smaller ones as well, and there's quite a marked difference in the 5.4 inch model. It's so much smaller than we thought, more akin to that of the 4.7 inch iPhone SE. Now, John Prosser mentioned to me exclusively that the navy blue color has been confirmed on his side as well. So not only did Weinbach first leak it, Prosser is now confirming it as well. Navy blue is the new color of the 12 Pro. Weinbach did mention it will be replacing midnight green. I forgot to mention in the last exclusives that the matte touch frosted back will be staying. It's a very popular option, reduces fingerprints, so of course Apple wants to keep that. Also wanted to be clear that the only thing we don't know about the exterior design of the new iPhones is the lens itself. We know it'll be getting larger, about 5mm larger in length and width, but we don't know about the lens sizing and spacing inside. So that was sort of based on some other leaks we put together. It's not confirmed. So that still remains to be seen. But a theory I have, and a moment of speculation here, nothing confirmed, could Apple be blacking out all 4 lenses on the iPhone 12 Pro series? Hear me out here. So the LiDAR sensor by default needs to be dark, it needs to be black, and it would only make sense for Apple to color in the rest of the lenses. And oh so conveniently, Max Weinbach last year leaked the fact that Apple was working on blackout tint lenses that allow the camera to operate as normal, but are completely dark on the exterior surface, removing the visibility into the inner components of the lens. There is no word that this would be coming to this year's iPhone, but it only makes sense. If there's a LiDAR sensor that's completely dark, it'll look out of place. It's possible that Apple could use this tech to black out the rest of the lenses to make it even with the LiDAR sensor. Completely speculative, but I think it would look amazing. Also mentioned in the last video, but wanted to reiterate, there were 2 separate prototypes, one with a LiDAR sensor on the top right, and with a notch staying the same in length. We've since learned the accurate design of the notch, which will be shrinking, meaning that this design is likely not the one Apple will be using. LiDAR will probably be on the bottom right. Now, Weinbach reports that the flat edges have proven to be quite durable in Apple testing. In fact, when analyzing the CAD, we've learned that the glass protrudes far less than it does currently on the 11 Pro series, meaning that the border itself protects the glass in falls. So not only is the glass becoming more durable, but the actual construction and exterior housing itself is helping protect the glass on the iPhone 12. Weinbach says that in internal drop testing, engineers were quite confident in this design and its durability. So ProMotion on the iPhone. Yes, it's happening, exclusively limited to the iPhone 12 Pro series, so the 6.1 and 6.7 inch high-end models. The lower end 5.4 and 6.1 inch models will not be getting it. They'll be keeping a 60 Hz display. Of course, all will be organic LED though. When I got these leaks a little over a month ago, the state of this on the iPhone was not quite good. The engineers weren't happy with the quality, but since then they've added a few mitigations to make it more viable on the 12 Pro series. It was also quite clear since the beginning to the engineers that they wanted either 120 Hz or 60 Hz. No in between at 90 Hz like the OnePlus 8 series, all or nothing. I like that. So one of the mitigations they've added is dynamic variable refresh rate switching. So switching from 60 to 120 Hertz, depending on the content on your iPhone. If you're gaming, let's say scrolling very quickly, watching content, it'll use algorithms to switch between those modes, and in doing so, save you battery life. Currently, there's no implementation in iOS for this mode, so that had to be added. but the engineers were quite satisfied once that was implemented. Another mitigation was bigger battery. It's quite clear that battery suffers wherever a 120Hz display is present, and as a result, since the last leaks, the Apple engineers have boosted the milliamp capacity of the battery in the 12 Pro series. In the last exclusives, we reported that it would have about 4400 milliamps. We don't know the new capacity, but we know it's larger. And an exclusive provided to me by John Prosser is that the logic board in this year's iPhone 12 Pro models will be split in two, connected by a ribbon cable in the center. Unclear what this would entail, but I'm guessing that they're splitting it up in order to split up the functions of the iPhone to different sections and as a result enlarge the battery. Previously, we heard from Ben Geskin that Apple was doing a triple layer logic board this year. I wonder if this has anything to do with that. And some Face ID stuff. Max Weinbach once again confirms that the Face ID module will be shrinking on this year's iPhone. This is of course after the huge Face ID leak. The schematics have leaked, we know the actual shape and design. But not only is it shrinking, it's gaining new capabilities as well. Weinbach reports that Face ID will now have a wider angle of use, meaning your phone can be tilted at more extreme angles and still be able to scan your face. Highly doubt it'll work on a tabletop in front of you when you're sitting behind it, but I'm sure you'll ink out just a little bit more capability versus the current version. And Weinbach reports that Face ID will be gaining new dynamic zoning algorithms, where Face ID will crop into certain facial features and track those more efficiently. Unrelated, but just a little while ago, Apple did file a patent for Face ID and automatically adjusting to the orientation in which you're using your iPhone. So let's say you're laying at your bedside holding your iPhone, it will adjust and not rotate applications based on your face. This could certainly be integrated with a new version of Face ID that's more capable. Now, our original 12 Pro exclusive leaks detailed many camera changes coming to the 12 Pro. Now we have a bunch more. First off, the 64 megapixel sensor that Apple was prototyping, not happening. Engineers were unhappy with the autofocus capability of that sensor. They wanted 100% of the pixels to be used on focus for the dual pixel autofocus feature. That wasn't working on a higher megapixel count, so they axed that feature, likely staying at 12 megapixels for yet another generation. Now, the good news regarding autofocus is that Apple has improved it by a factor of 2 to 3 times, thanks to general improvements and in a combination with the new LiDAR sensor. There's also improved subject detection in low light. Low light will be a major priority of this year's iPhone 12 Pro series, as Apple established that with the 11 Pro. They'll be further perfecting it with the 12 Pro series. And for low light photos, Apple is improving electronic image stabilization, so it'll help for you to not get overlapping photos in night mode. Apple is also improving slow motion in the dark. This is in combination with a larger sensor, larger pixel sizes, and software tweaks. There was also no mention of a higher resolution or frame rate for slow motion. He reports that long exposure segmentation has also been improved, meaning astrophotography or anything which concerns long exposure will be improved. White balance will be improved, particularly on people's faces. This is likely to be achieved with software tweaks. And the LiDAR sensor will be used for more accurate portrait mode photos, and portrait mode video, something Weinbach reported Apple was working on, could finally be possible thanks to the LiDAR sensor, although in its current state, the performance is subpar, and Apple may delay it to the iPhone 13 or a later version of iOS 14. Now, Apple has been greatly improving their microphones on the iPad series, the MacBook series, and the iPhone is next. Apple will be tweaking the microphones on the iPhone 12 lineup with improved audio zoom and more precise beam forming. And next-gen Smart HDR is progressing nicely, the feature which allows you to take the perfect photo every single time. It will be available on all iPhone 12 lineup models. It's progressing sooner than they anticipated, likely with results fueled by the Apple A14. Namely, one change coming to Smart HDR is better noise reduction in low light situations. You can see that Apple is heavily focusing on the low light capabilities of this year's iPhones. Also, the telephoto lens will be getting 3 times optical zoom. Not quite periscope level, but still a nice bump from the current 2 times. Also, the telephoto lens will be capable of night mode. So not only the wide angle lens, but also the telephoto now. Apple is also testing improved digital zoom, also likely fueled by the Apple A14. It's really amazing what you can do with software when you have powerful silicon. They're currently debating between 25 to 30 times zoom. Currently, what's available is 10 times zoom on the iPhone, and it's frankly not that great. This is one area where Apple is lagging behind for years already. As for the ultra-wide lens, Weinbach reports that the field of view will be staying the same, won't be getting any wider. It's already pretty dang good. We heard earlier that there might be a macro mode, but since then, no word on any sort of night mode or general improvements to this lens. And about a week ago, Weinbach reported to me that the prototyping for the iPhone 12 Pros is being held back by the camera right now, so that's the weakest link. Apple has pretty much figured out everything else but the cameras. Understandably, it's such an intricate system between software, hardware, and of course they're enlarging it all. It's going to be crazy. We thought the 11 Pro was a camera boost. This is going to blow it out of the water. Also, remember Kuo's large report regarding sensor shift image stabilization on the 2020 6.7-inch iPhone? DigiTimes reported it was coming to the 6.1 version as well. Even though Weinbach's source did not report on this tech coming to the iPhone, it's possible that the ultra-wide lens will be getting stabilized using this tech, and all of those leaks we just heard about the camera could work in synchronicity with Kuo's sensor shift image stabilization leak. Kuo also reported that sensor shift image stabilization will be coming to 2 to 3 more iPhones in 2021. So the 6.7-inch model may truly be a halo device. It's unclear how it'll differ between the 6.1 and 6.7, but it appears that there may be a difference here, especially with whispers of Touch ID coming exclusively to the 6.7-inch model. I hope they don't do that, but I would understand why they would. Also in that report by Kuo, he detailed that periscope zoom would be coming to a 2022 iPhone. Apple is working on a 5, possibly 10 times optical zoom, potentially even a ping pong zoom module, which concept creator designed. Absolutely awesome. But I like that Apple is finally taking zoom seriously, starting with a 3 times on this year's, and then in a couple years, potentially 5, 10 times. A couple more things. So some speculation from Weinbach, not confirmed. The naming of this year's iPhones, potentially iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Plus, this is for the base models, and then iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 Pro Max for the high-end models. Certainly makes sense, clean, and familiar. And the last bit, so Craig Federici at WWDC, he'll be delivering more iPadOS keyboard software demos. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. Crazy bunch of leaks here. We've seen the design, we've seen the notch, we know the camera capabilities, we know it will be getting ProMotion. What else is there? Thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you want a chance to win one of those, instructions down below. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.